What's going on, my friends? Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a good week as always. I want to talk about the truth about 9/11 and two things that the media lied about when it comes to bin Laden. It's not going to be as crazy as a stream as it sounds, but I do want to kind of accurately report history because I know a lot of things are not being said, and in order to really help people, you have to get to the core of what happened. You can't just talk about it. Before I do that, and as people come in, I do want to say first off, God bless not only the entire world, but God bless the victims of 9/11. God bless anybody that lost a friend or a family member in the attacks on 9/11. I just want to get that out of the way. I think anybody that got hurt that day deserves to be honored and respected and remembered. So that's right off the jump. You know, it's all love for me, and God bless America. First off, God bless the world, and God bless anybody that fell that day. But the difference between me and politicians and the difference between me and the media is I personally think in order to really honor the victims of 9/11, we have to keep freedom in this country. We have to be in a better place in 2020 than we were in 2001. And in some ways we are, and in many ways we're not. We're losing our freedom due to these lockdowns. We're also losing freedom and losing a lot of people to these endless wars in the Middle East that seem to be coming to a halt, thanks to President Trump and his negotiating tactics. However, we do need to get to the core of what happened, and even if I can't do that because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you like a lot of people and tell you I know who did what, I know what happened, this and that. I have eyes and ears like everyone else. I'm suspicious, I'm questioning, but there are things that I could tell you that are just being straight up falsely misreported, and in order to really make a better future, we have to properly document history, and that's what they don't do throughout history. They lie to you about history, and then history repeats itself, but nobody sees it repeating itself because they never learned the real history to begin with. So I can do a few things, and what I'm going to do is tell some things about 9/11 that a lot of people don't know, and tell the two biggest lies about Osama bin Laden that most people don't know, and they're factual. So as everyone's coming in, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I just want to say I'm already being flagged and attacked for hate speech, so this may be one of the more controversial live streams I do, and it may get me in trouble. I don't know. I don't really care at this point, but I didn't even post it yet, and on Twitter, I'm being flagged by some sort of account that's trying to say that this stream is going to be hate speech or anti-Semitic, and they don't even know what I'm going to say. They just saw the title. I said the truth about 9/11, and they assumed that it was going to be anti-Semitic. This is an account that's been harassing my Orthodox Jewish buddy too, Andrew Meyer, so they don't make much sense, but this is what I'm also going to write my book about. I'm finally working on a book, and the book is about all these buzzwords and all these ways that they say things to pretend like they have the moral high ground to stop you from having a conversation. They call you a racist, they call you a sexist, they call you a xenophobe, they call you an anti-Semite, they call you an Islamophobe. They got all these words that they invented over the last 100 years or so, and they're not to help people. It's not to help Christians or Muslims or Jewish people. It's to act like they have the moral high ground, distort history, censor discussion, censor the truth, and move forward with their agenda without being able to combat it. So I'm going to write my whole book about liars like these accounts trying to flag me. But regardless, I'm used to it at this point. I'm going to tell you some things you don't know about 9/11, what happened afterwards, and then two things about bin Laden that they don't show. And I think it's a little bit more helpful than just posting a bunch of the same politicians and the same media sources that lied us into wars over the last 20 years, the same politicians and the same media sources that sell out our First Amendment, the same politicians and the same media sources on the left and the right that do nothing to preserve freedom in America, that do nothing to honor the fallen heroes of 9/11, that do nothing to put our country in a better place. They have all these beautiful words today, like they do every 9/11, and it's nice, and I think these people need to be honored. But to me, the nicest thing you could do is tell the truth. The nicest thing you could do is get to the bottom of it. And the nicest thing you could do is stop selling out our First Amendment so people like myself are able to publicly speak the things that you don't want to speak. So I think that's the nicest way to honor the victims. What do you guys think? God bless you. We got James in Australia. I'm going to sip on my coffee. I'm going to get amped. And then we're going to get with it. Appreciate you guys. We got Rhonda from Michigan. I appreciate you, Rhonda. Crystal, thank you so much. Ray, I appreciate you. Here, I'm going to just post this real quick. Really quick, this is my free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. If you haven't done it, stayintouchwithme.com, free email list, and then dreamrare.com with the shirts and the hats. But that's just a side point. We got Brian from Portersville, California. God bless you. Dana, what's going on? Tana. All right, Brian said, here's the thing. Brian said, don't start spewing that stuff that said it was an inside job, man, please, for your own credibility. These are the smear tactics people have. First of all, Brian, God bless you. I appreciate you. I like your American flag and your profile picture. I haven't even started my live stream. I haven't even told you what I'm going to say. You don't even know what I'm going to say. And you're already accusing me of being a conspiracy theorist, saying it was an inside job. There's somebody on Twitter calling me an anti-Semite. Guys, can I open my mouth? This is what America tries to do to people now. Freedom doesn't exist anymore. They try to put a muzzle on your mouth before you even say anything. They accuse you of being a hate monger or conspiracy theorist before you even open your mouth. Brian, do I seem like the type of person that's going to sit here and lie to you and make up a bunch of stories I can't tell you? Have I ever done that with any of my videos? Do I just start spewing things that I can't prove and just say a bunch of nothings that make no sense? So why in the world would you accuse me of saying something that you don't want to hear for the reason of it being false? Come on, my man. Let's drink our coffees and enjoy ourselves real quick. Danielle, I'm gonna send out the shirts today, actually. So I'm going to like a FedEx store later, and then I was gonna do a supporters only post. So I'll do that later today. You're actually right on time. Daniel, Australia, God bless you. Judy said, I got my hat today. I love it, in all caps. Thank you for your honesty. Judy, I appreciate it. I bet that hat looks fantastic on you. God bless you, Judy. Thank you for ordering one. I'm glad you like it. Someone said, listen, it's all good. Let's sip our coffees. Sophia, God bless you. Thank you so much. Stacy said, yeah, ignore there's some bad people out there. There's some nasty people. The people who don't like America, like a lot of the left-wing groups, of course they're going to tell you to get over it. Of course they're going to tell you to, not worry about it. These people are just cold-hearted people. Even if you're going to disagree with something, we should be able to honor the victims and honor people who lost family members and stuff. I mean, to tell people to get over it, it's a little bit rude, but whatever. All right, let's start. So before I start, once again, I just want to make this so clear. God bless the victims of 9/11. God bless anybody, the wars after it, the day of it, the firefighters, the police officers, the first responders. God bless these people right off the jump. I think it's great that people always say nice things about them today, and I love it. What I don't like is the same politicians and same news sources who lied us into this stuff and lied us into these wars and never try to get to the bottom of anything, whether it's 9/11, Las Vegas, and anything, and then just act like they're such great people once a year. I don't buy it. Before I get into that type of stuff, I want to talk about the perpetrator of the event, Osama bin Laden. You heard about him all over the media. When I was younger, I heard about him. I just want to accurately explain history, because I think if these things don't get understood, we're never going to learn anything. We're never going to get to the bottom of it. So I don't want to get too controversial, although I am going to get too controversial, but who was Osama bin Laden, first of all? The first big lie that the media said about Osama bin Laden is that they told me, and this is what I thought when I was younger, he was just some random Arab guy. They were like, he's just some Arab, he's some Muslim, he's hanging out in a cave, he's with a goat. These are the stereotypes and the, jokes that were going on in mainstream America when they were looking for Osama bin Laden. But he wasn't just a random Arab. Bin Laden was part of, and is part of, or was part of, one of the richest Saudi Arabian families in the world. The Bin Laden family is massively wealthy, billions of dollars. The Bin Laden group is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, construction group in Saudi Arabia. They make billions of dollars. They're a big wig group. So this idea that nobody knew who Osama bin Laden was, like he's just some random Arab guy, is just completely false right off the jump. He used to do Western interviews. I mean, it's equivalent to like the Donald Trump of Saudi Arabia doing an interview. He wasn't hiding for 10, 20 years. He was working with a lot of people in the United States. He was very well known because that's just what billionaires do. When Trump goes over to Saudi Arabia and he puts his hand on that ball, why is Trump doing that? He's getting along with the heads of Saudi Arabia, but also they have a lot of money. The Saudis have a lot of oil money. It's a very wealthy country, and in this world, money rules the world. So we get along with the wealthier countries, and we are a lot more likely to make, deals and, I guess, cooperate with people if they have a lot of money versus no money. So I'm not saying bin Laden didn't go rogue. I'm not saying he didn't head Al-Qaeda. But what I'm saying is people need to understand history or else we're never going to get to the bottom of it. He was not a random Arab. He wasn't just some guy hiding next to a goat, as they tried to say in the media. He was a billionaire, a very well-connected man across the world, a very well-connected man in Saudi Arabia, not in Iraq, not in Iran, not in Syria, not in, Libya, where we all tried to invade, but in Saudi Arabia. And those are our allies. So, even though a lot of the hijackers seem to come from there, that never really comes into question. And I'm not blaming Saudi Arabia. I'm not blaming innocent Saudi Arabians. I'm just saying the first big lie is that he's just some random guy that nobody knew. A lot of people in the United States knew bin Laden because he was a billionaire heir to the throne, or not the throne of Saudi Arabia, but the wealth of the bin Laden group family. The second thing I want to say that they lied about, and I know this is almost very unknown and very taboo to say, which is why I'm already being smeared for hate speech, but everybody says, well, bin Laden attacked America because he hated the freedom America had. You've probably heard that a lot, right? The reason bin Laden attacked us is because he hated the freedom America had. I'm not justifying what he did. Obviously, this is my country. I hate what happened on 9/11. I hate the fact that innocent people were killed. I would not for a second justify this event at all. It's not justified at all. But what I'm telling you is, if you want to get over it and figure out how to not make something like this happen again, you have to properly understand why it happened. He did not fake news, false lie from the right and the left. He did not attack the towers because he hated the freedom America had. He did not like America because America works for Israel. And he said this multiple times. He thought America needed to convert to Islam because there's too much degeneracy, usury, pornography, gambling, intoxicants. He was very anti-alcohol, anti-gambling, anti-porn. Similar to a lot of Christians, to be quite honest. I'm not saying what he did is right. I'm just saying he didn't attack America because he hated our freedom. He hated our degeneracy, and he hated the fact that America was basically operating for Israel. And he said that a bunch of times. Now, I'm not blaming Israel for the attack. What I am saying is he didn't attack America because we're a free nation. He attacked America because our allies, Israel, are who really ticked him off, and America factually just works hand in hand with Israel. So that's why he did the attack. You'll never hear that because they consider that some sort of hate speech crime. It's not a hate speech crime. It's an accurate historical fact. I could read quotes to you of what he said. I don't know if I could even do it. They'll probably delete my page, but you can look it up on Wikipedia and see exactly why he said he did it. Does that make it right? No, of course not. It doesn't make it right, but shouldn't you know real history? Why would you want to know fake history? Why would you want to learn something that sounds good that's not even remotely true just because it feels good to think that or say that? So those are two things that most people won't hear about Osama bin Laden because they don't accurately talk about anything. So today, on the anniversary of 9/11, Israel has reached a historic peace deal with its wealthy Arab neighbors. With the help of Trump and Kushner and these type of people, Israel's striking peace deals all over the Middle East, which is fantastic for Israel. God bless the Israelis. God bless the Arab nations who are striking peace deals. It's all love for me. There's not a single piece of hate in my heart. However, let's look at the United States of America. Is America at peace right now because they struck a peace deal? America has been destabilized. America is completely destabilized. Our cities have been destabilized. Our way of life has been destabilized. Our economy has been destabilized. Small businesses have been destabilized. Our constitution's destabilized. Even our Supreme Court's destabilized. Our media's destabilized. Our education system's destabilized. Our social fabric that runs our entire country is destabilized. Our sports leagues are destabilized. America is a destabilized nation right now, as Israel and the Arab nations reach their peace deals. Why am I saying this? Well, first of all, I'm an American citizen, and I would like it if my country was at peace with ourselves. But does the United States Army, are they protecting our cities right now? They're not. I don't even know if they can. Is the U.S. Army protecting our border? We've had caravans of people we didn't know who they were trying to come in. We have our forests being burned by arson, as the media says it's something else. So where's our army? Where's the United States Army? As the United States is being destabilized from the inside, our army's nowhere to be found because they're over in the Middle East, because that's what they do. So why are they in the Middle East? What are they doing? Were they going for Osama bin Laden? what does Iraq have to do with Osama bin Laden? What does Saddam Hussein have to do with Osama bin Laden? What does Libya have to do with Osama bin Laden? What did Syria have to do with Osama bin Laden? It has nothing to do with Osama bin Laden. One of the main functions of the United States military, just factually, is to protect and defend Israel. So as our country gets destabilized, as we, can't even keep ourselves afloat, we're over in other countries fighting wars for Israel. Why are we in Syria? What does Syria has to do with America? Why do we want to go for Bashar al-Assad? What strategic benefit does that have for us, besides maybe like a Russia-Iran proxy war? Someone said get back to 9/11. This all is part of it, because after 9/11, we used what happened on 9/11, which was very real, as a reason to go after Muammar Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, and Bashar al-Assad. This all is hand in hand. So this is what we were doing in the Middle East after 9/11. We used that as justification to go after Syria. So right-wing Christians will tell me, well, we're protecting, Israel, we're protecting Christians, we're fighting the bad Muslims. That's really not, that's fake history that you could tell yourself to feel good about what happened, but that's not what we were doing in Syria. Before we invaded Syria, before we helped, create a destabilization of Syria, Syria had more Christians than anywhere in the Middle East. You had millions of Christians. There was no better place to be in the Middle East than in Syria. They have churches. They still have churches. They're rebuilding churches that were destroyed in their civil war that America helped fund. So when we invaded Syria, they went from the most Christian place in the Middle East, and they dropped down. Millions of Christians got killed and displaced. So you were never helping Christians. You were helping defend what Israel wanted to do at the expense of the American army, the American taxpayer, and the entire nation of Syria. That's just a fact. What else would we be doing there? When we went to Libya, what does Libya have to do with Osama bin Laden? And not only get back to 9/11, I can't get back to 9/11 because 9/11 was used as justification to invade multiple countries that has no benefit for the United States, our taxpayers, our people, or anybody around the world. Why was Libya destabilized? What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Why were they destabilized? Maybe because he was trying to get away from the banking system and do some sort of gold-backed currency. Well, who does that threaten? I don't know. The bankers? Who are the bankers? I don't know. You can figure it out yourself, but I don't think you're even allowed to say it in this country because both parties have sold out the First Amendment. Big tech has sold out your First Amendment. You can't tell the truth on Facebook. You can't tell the truth on Instagram. You can't tell the truth on Twitter. They're deleting accounts left and right. They've deleted books on Amazon. They've closed down the entire country to the point where you can't even go to the bookstore in your country or in your city. Where can you go to the bookstore? On Amazon. So they funneled all the control to themselves, and now they're banning entire catalogs and rewriting history. So isn't that just interesting? But in general, we've been destabilized like Syria and Libya. And this all goes hand in hand because 20 years after 9/11 or 19 years after 9/11, Israel is reaching peace. The Arab nations are reaching peace. America was destabilized, Syria was destabilized, Libya was destabilized. Our soldiers have been sacrificed, our country has been sacrificed, and our army doesn't even protect our own people. They're not even allowed to because they serve a foreign nation. And if you say that, they consider it hate speech. Why? Is what I'm saying hateful? Of course not. Am I blaming everybody? Of course not. Do I hate anybody? Not at all. What has been hateful about this? I'm just telling the truth, and the truth is not allowed because the people who own all these big corporations and own the banks and own the media and own the sports league don't want you to think that or say that. Am I mad at them? Do I hate them? No, of course not. But they don't like the truth. So they have both parties working hand in hand, so you never know any of this stuff. You have right-wingers who will say, never forget. I don't forget. I remember exactly where I was on 9/11, but I also don't forget what George Bush did afterwards. I also don't forget what Obama did afterwards and Hillary Clinton did afterwards. I also don't forget the fact that all these right-wingers over the past 4 years have went around college campuses telling you they're standing up for free speech, when in reality, they're actually selling out the First Amendment. You know, Charlie Kirk Shapiro, they don't support the First Amendment. They'll call you an anti-Semite the second you say anything that disagrees with their Zionist agenda. That's what they do. They put Israel first, America second, and allow people like Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump to sell out the First Amendment. That's not my opinion. That's not hate speech. That's historical facts. And now if history is a hate speech, then we have a problem in this country, which we do, because there's not a single party standing up for the First Amendment. Facebook will delete you, Google will delete you, left-wing groups that are actually really Jewish international groups like ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which was founded by B'nai B'rith, literally in their own website, their entire existence is to protect Jewish people worldwide and to protect Israel. But if you say they're doing that, they say you're an anti-Semite. You can't suggest that we care about Jewish people worldwide. Well, it's in your biography. What else is the Anti-Defamation League doing? They're going around Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Amazon, and pressuring anybody that accurately speaks about history. They're pressuring anybody that accurately says what they're doing in their own words. They're not a left-wing group, they're a Jewish group, and they're protecting Jewish interests worldwide in America and deleting free speech and overturning our Constitution. Does anybody care? Well, Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro pretend to care, but then they pass speech laws, or Trump passes speech laws, or Ron DeSantis passes speech laws, and Ted Cruz tries to pass speech laws that say you're not allowed to say that. So the truth is illegal to the right wing as they're getting attacked by the left wing, and if you say it, they call you an anti-Semite. What does that tell you? It tells you where our country is destabilized. Why is our country destabilized? Because we've been sacrificed for things that have nothing to do with us. So do I think 9/11 was real? Of course it was real. I saw what happened. Thousands of people died. Do I think what happened in the aftermath was a real, reaction to going to get Osama bin Laden? To be honest, I don't think so. I think they used it as an excuse to invade Iraq. I think they used it as an excuse to invade Syria. I think they used it as an excuse to invade Libya at the expense of our lives, our soldiers, our people, our media. Our entire country operates on an agenda that has nothing to do with Americans. And if you suggest that there should be a politician on the left or the right that cares about America before a foreign interest, then they call you a racist, sexist, xenophobe, Islamophobe, anti-Semite. They'll pick a word, whoever you're talking about. The left wing doesn't care about America at all. It's America last. They're working with global communist groups. They hate this country. They hate the people here. What is there on the left wing? What is there even remotely desirable for anybody that doesn't hate themselves or hate their country? The left wing is completely useless. And on the right wing, they serve the interests of Israel over America. They pass speech laws. They call you an anti-Semite if you want to stand up for America first. And then most of them start wars until Trump came along. It wasn't popular to not start wars. They all would have done it. McCain would have done it. Romney would have done it. Shapiro would have done it. Kirk would have done it. Nikki Haley would have done it. These people all would have done this if Trump did not do it. He said, nah, I'm going to roll it back a little bit in Syria. And then they all followed because that's what they do. They just follow the leader and act like they would have done it themselves. They wouldn't have. They're all selling out your free speech. They're all passing bills to suggest you can't talk about banking and media and the real connections that are happening in this world of why they're happening in the first place. It's not a coincidence. It's not hate speech. It's not targeting a certain race with hate and evil. It's literally telling the truth about what's happening. And until you figure out what's happening, which neither party wants to do, you're going to be destabilized. Syria was destabilized. Syria was sacrificed. Libya was destabilized. Libya was sacrificed, and now America is destabilized, and America is being sacrificed for a completely alternate agenda that has nothing to do with the American people. Someone said the peace deals aren't good. No, the peace deals are great. It's great to have peace. Israel's at peace. That's amazing. The Arab nations are starting to become at peace. That's amazing. But America's not at peace. Is our country at peace? Our country is not at peace. Our country has been sacrificed for their peace. We're not at peace. We have a long way to be at peace. We might never be at peace because the things that they've done over the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years was changed our country in a way socially, changed our country in a way demographically, changed our country in a way mentally and culturally to the point where we're going to have the hardest time out of the entire world to becoming at peace because we have the biggest uphill climb socially and culturally right now. So peace is great, but it's not in America. Our country's destabilized. I would love if Syria was at peace. They're at peace now after they got sacrificed. So someone said the takeover. I don't know what to tell you. I could sit here and lie to you and just say that, this isn't happening, but it really is. And someone said, in general, there's a reason it's happening. There's a agenda, and I've said enough. I mean, I don't know what more. Let me see. I'm going to read some comments. Someone said it will not last, bro. Peace will not last in the Middle East. I mean, we'll see what happens, but a temporary peace deal is good, but there's no temporary peace deal for us our entire country is working against us. The politicians that claim they're working, who's the most pro-America, pro-freedom person that we've ever seen? Donald Trump? Donald Trump passed anti-Semitism speech laws. He doesn't want you to say what I just said. In fact, they could, penalize me for even speaking that truth. Not because of the left wing, they're doing it too, because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump shut the country down for a few months, put Fauci on a pedestal, and said he agreed with the lockdowns for 2 months past Easter, criticized Sweden. And so are we going to be free at this rate when we have the most pro-freedom people in our country selling out the First Amendment? When you lose the First Amendment, you're going to be forced to defend yourself with the Second Amendment. We've lost the First Amendment. It's far gone. You don't have the freedom to speak your mind. You don't have the freedom in this country to speak the truth. I have the freedom to say what I'm saying right now, but Facebook has the freedom to take my money away. MasterCard has the freedom to take my bank account away. And Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk have the freedom to smear me and lie about what I just said and call me a hate monger and pass speech laws to make sure no one else ever says it. So yeah, I'm about as free as I can be to say what I want to say, and they're free to completely destabilize my bank account and my finances, just like they've destabilized America, just like they've destabilized Syria, just like they've destabilized Libya. Someone said you're giving too much credit to Israel. I'm not blaming Israel. It's not Israel's fault. It's American politicians' fault. I'm not saying that. If you look at the biggest lobbyist of United States politics when it comes to a foreign nation, it's AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee. They control everybody, from Trump to Pence to Obama to Biden to Clinton. Everybody works for AIPAC. You can't get into office if you don't work in AIPAC. It's the only thing they agree with. The mainstream media, where if I say this, they'll close my account down and call me an anti-Semite, but look up who owns CNN. Look up who owns the parent company who owns CNN. Look up who owns 50 to 90% of the media. It's a certain ethnic group. It's just factual. So the point I'm trying to get to is, when it comes to Trump, when is the only time the media ever agrees with Donald Trump? The only time I've ever seen them agree with Trump is when he drops bombs on Syria. Why would the media, the left-wing liberal media, be happy when Trump dropped bombs on Syria? What does that have to do with liberalism? It has nothing to do with liberalism. It has to do with Zionism, which is the movement for Israel first, America second. So on the left wing, you have people like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris will support Israel. She's spoken at AIPAC millions of times. The only thing that Trump and Pence and Kamala Harris agree on is Israel. Protect Israel. Israel gets whatever they want, no matter who wins. It doesn't matter. There is no party in this country that serves American people first, which is why you don't have the First Amendment, which is why your country's destabilized, just like they destabilized Syria and Libya. And yeah, there's peace in other countries at the expense and the sacrifice of the American people. That's just the truth, and that's the truth that nobody wants to say and nobody wants to speak. Do you know why? Because you can't say it or speak it. If you do, they will demonize you the same way they demonized Trump. They will delete your books off of Amazon. They will delete your entire channel off of Facebook, and they will work with the media that they control to make sure that everybody thinks you're a horrible person. And they've done it for the last 100, 200 years. So I'm just being honest. And all the Christians who are like, well, we have to do this and we have to do that because the Bible says so, you don't even know. For thousands of years, Christians never felt that way. The Schofield Bible was put out and blasted to the American people to convince people in the late 1800s to take one line out of context, ignore the rest of the Bible, and serve interests that have nothing to do with their own people, their own religion, their own ideology, their own morals, their own values, and their own common sense and their own constitution. So you can harp on the one line all you want because all the Zionist right-wingers tell you it's what it says. It's not what it says, and Christians have never interpreted it that way for 1,000 years until the Schofield Bible came out and told everybody to think that way, because the Schofield Bible was funded to create Israel. It was funded by people who wanted to make the movement for Zionism, and I don't care what Israel does. God bless Israel. God bless Israelis. I'm just telling you the truth. At a certain point, there's not a single politician or a single media source or a single, movement in this country to serve America's interests. If you serve America's interests, they call you a racist. If you serve America's interests, they call you a bigot. You can't do that, but there's thousands of special interest groups for everybody else. If you're black, you can have a special interest group. You can have 100. You could have 1,000. You could be a white Black Lives Matter supporter that's not even black and burn down things, and they'll say you're good. Why is it okay to burn things down in the names of racial activism, but you can't even have a single group that focuses on your own interests? They call you a racist, sexist, xenophobe, anti-Semite if you try to organize and protect America. There is no American group. The closest thing is Trump, and they serve the interests of Zionists. If they didn't, why in the world is America destabilized? Why in the world is he selling out the First Amendment? Why is he passing legislation so you can't boycott a foreign nation in a school? I'm not a boycotter, but you can boycott the Democrats, you can boycott the Republicans, you can boycott white people, you can boycott anything you want, but you can't boycott Israel because they control both parties. I'm sorry. And the only thing they agree with Trump on is when he bombed Syria. This is not a coincidence, guys, and there's a reason that you're not allowed to say it. There's a reason that there's laws on the State Department website that'll get you in trouble if you even say it. It's not because it's not true. It's not because it's mean. It's because it is true, and the people who have the power don't want you to say it. I'm sorry. Why does Nick Cannon have to go on an apology tour for what he said? It's not for what he said about white people. He said white people are subhuman. He said that you're basically like a lesser species. He's on an apology tour because he mentioned Jewish people one time, and he's not allowed to work at Viacom unless he bows down on his knees and apologizes. So he's been on an apology tour for 4 weeks. Why is that? Because white Europeans and Christians have no power in this country. They don't control any major institutions. They control Chick-fil-A. That's about it. The media is not controlled by Christians. The banks are not controlled by Christians. The country's not controlled by Christians. The biggest Christians in this country are like Nancy Pelosi, who's like a moron. So it's like, what's the point of even having a Catholic in power like that? Because they're not even serving anybody's interests. So I'm just being honest at the expense of my own platform. So take it or leave it. I'll answer a few questions. Someone said, if you say anything empirically true against the popular narratives, you get silenced and shut down. And that's what I'm writing my book about, guys. If you say anything, they've created these words: racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semite, Islamophobic. What's the other one? Conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer. They have a word for everything. Anti-climate change, climate denier, anti-science. What do these words mean? What is science? What is Semitism? What is being anti? Do you hate people because you say what's real? No, I don't hate anybody. I could say what I just said to 10 of my Jewish friends and they won't care, but I say it publicly and the Anti-Defamation League will try to take my video down. Why will they do that? Because that's what they do. That's who they are. They've been doing this for 100 years. So someone said Pelosi's not a Christian. She's a Catholic, whatever. Catholics are Christian too. They're just a different denomination or whatever. So I'll answer this question here. Someone said, I don't understand why you're saying Trump got rid of the First Amendment. It's the media and the Democrats blocking the First Amendment. Sandra, first of all, God bless you. This is why America's destabilized, because right-wingers don't understand this. Let's break it down very slowly. The Democrats are totally giving away the First Amendment. Big tech, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Amazon. You don't have the First Amendment at all with the left wing. But this is where they trick right-wingers. You just assume, well, the left wing's selling out my free speech, so the right wing's fighting for it. The right wing is not fighting for your free speech. They're all lying. From Trump to Charlie Kirk to Shapiro, not a single one of them is honest. And anybody who is honest about it, they blacklist and call an anti-Semite. Do you know why? Let's slow it down. The left wing is not pro-free speech, okay? We get that. The Democrats are definitely not helping you at all, okay? Now let's go to the right wing. Trump passed an executive order to stop boycotts and anti-Semitism on college campuses. That's creating a new safe space on college campuses. Now, not only can you not boycott that, you can't even speak against them at certain colleges. Abby Martin, who's annoying, but she has a few decent points, regardless of how annoying she is, I think she should be allowed to speak at a college campus. But Abby Martin now can't speak at a college campus because Trump passed an anti-First Amendment executive order stopping anti-Semitism. So in order to speak at college campuses at certain ones, you have to sign a form that says you won't criticize Israel. That's not First Amendment. Trump passed that. Let's go to Florida. You could look it up on your own. It's a Ron DeSantis anti-Semitism bill. He passed a school bill that stops anti-Semitism in school. Does it really stop anti-Semitism in school? No, because you can't legislate anti-Semitism. You can't stop people from hating somebody. You can't stop people from talking about somebody. Passing legislation to stop free speech does not decrease the hate. It increases the hate. I love Jewish people, so I tell the truth. What I just told you in this live stream, there's multiple rabbis over the past year who've told their people too. A Talmudic rabbi said it, and a rabbi of a denomination I'm not sure said it. Are they anti-Semitic? No, they're rabbis. They love their people, so they tell their people the truth. Because the hard, tough truth is what's going to set you free, and the big lies on both parties are what's going to get people hurt in this country, all around the world, in the Middle East, everywhere. So the right wing is not in any way, shape, or form protecting the First Amendment. In some ways, by fighting the left, but Ron DeSantis passed an anti-Semitism school bill. Read the bill. It says we're protecting not only a religion, it's a religious bill, but any ethnic Jewish person from this. You can't say this. You can't talk about banking. You can't talk about media. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. It's not a bill to decrease the hate. It's a bill to increase the hate and protect very powerful people. It's not to protect lower or middle class Jewish people. It's to protect the elites, the bankers, the media people, the people who don't want you to say what they're doing. So how are they protecting the First Amendment? They're protecting the First Amendment enough by saying, we're not the Democrats. Hey, we're protecting your free speech. Hey, look at me, I'm PragerU. And then they all support this stuff. They all call anybody who speaks out against it an anti-Semite. They say, how dare you be an anti-Semite? I'm not an anti-Semite. I like the First Amendment. I love Muslim people, but I'm not Muslim. So this country is not under Sharia law. So I don't believe that you shouldn't be able to talk about Muslims in a way that's questioning. You know, I have no ill feelings towards Muslims. I have no ill feelings towards Jews. I just think the First Amendment doesn't make little things. It doesn't say, well, you could say this, but not this. You could say this, but not this. You can't say this. That's all bad. That's all anti-First Amendment. We need to go the other way. We need a president who says, free speech is back. Not, well, you took away that speech. We're going to take away your speech. We're going to take away your... That's what the right wing's doing. Crenshaw, DeSantis, Shapiro, Kirk, Prager, Trump. They're all in on it, and if you rail against their anti-First Amendment agenda, they call you an anti-Semite. Does it matter that they're doing it for the people that you like better? No, because you don't believe in free speech unless you believe in free speech with the people you disagree with the most. Noam Chomsky used to preach this on the college campuses, and he, I'm just being honest, happens to be a Jewish man. The reason I say that is because he didn't cry about anti-Semitism. He got accused of anti-Semitism. He wasn't anti-Semitic. He just said, if you don't agree with the speech you disagree with the most and protect the speech you disagree with the most, then you don't agree with it at all. And there were a bunch of Jewish students on camera saying, oh my God, you know, Noam Chomsky, you're an anti-Semite, you're an anti-Semite. And he said, no, I don't agree with these people, but he said, you know, Goebbels, who was the propagandist of Nazi Germany, Goebbels only agreed with speech he agreed with. Stalin, in communist Russia, he only agreed with speech he agreed with. You're a fascist or a worse, a communist if you only agree with speech you agree with. You have to agree with the speech and protect the speech you disagree with the most, or else you don't have free speech at all. And that's what we have in this country. We don't have free speech at all. It's not just because the left wing sells it out. The left wing's the worst. Facebook is horrible. Google is a complete liar. But then, who's passing speech bills to stop you from questioning them? What's the ethnicity of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook? What's the ethnicity of Jeff Zucker of CNN? What's the ethnicity of Susan Wojcicki of Google, who also her sister owns your DNA? What's their ethnicity? And then what do the bills that Ron DeSantis passed say? Do they say you can't attack a deli owner? No, attacking a deli owner is illegal. Attacking a Jewish person is illegal. It's already illegal. It's already a crime. What do their speech bills say? You never even took a second to question because you just assumed they were protecting free speech. They're not. They're passing bills to protect the powerful. They're passing bills to protect Zuckerberg. They're passing bills to protect Susan Wojcicki. All of these people they claim that they're fighting, the George Soroses of the world, it's right-wingers, it's Trump, it's DeSantis, it's Kirk and Shapiro being little minions of gatekeepers, pretending like they're helping you, that are protecting these bills. They're not protecting free speech. In fact, if you do what I'm doing, they call you an anti-Semite. They've done it to multiple right-wingers who've gone to their events and asked these questions. They said, Dan Crenshaw, Shapiro, Kirk, they've said, do you agree with these anti-Semitism bills? And they said, oh, you're an anti-Semite. You're cloaking it. No, that's free speech. You're allowed to question things. When they question Islam, I don't call them Islamophobes. They're allowed to point out the differences between Islam and Judaism and Christianity and Islam. That's okay. Islam is not Christianity. Islam is not Judaism. America is not an Islamic state. So why would you have to pretend like it is? Is it Islamophobic to suggest it is? No. Is it Islamophobic to make discrepancies between people who blow themselves up and Pakistani doctors who want to come here and work their butts off? That's not Islamophobic. That's just basic common sense. That's like suggesting that Trump's saying everybody from Mexico is a rapist. He never said that. He said some rapists come over the border. Most people are great people, which is true. That's a factual statement. It's like most Mexicans are great, but some aren't. It's like most Americans are great, but some aren't. I mean, how is that even offensive? These are the same games the right wing plays because they protect Israel and Jewish people, or they pretend to, over the First Amendment. But it's not going to protect Israel for very long, and it's not going to protect Jewish people because you can't legislate hate out of somebody's heart. You can't pass speech bills to stop people from saying something. It only increases the hate, and it only increases the tension because you have to be able to debate. You have to be able to discuss. You have to be able to talk about certain things. When it comes to banking and media, it's not anti-Semitic to suggest there's a lot of Jewish people in banking and media. It's a fact. So now what is the right wing telling you? Facts are anti-Semitic. It's hate speech to say the truth. How are you fighting for free speech when Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Trump, DeSantis, all of them say that the truth is hate speech? It's not hate speech. It's the truth. And if you want to understand why, there's historical reasons for it too. You could point to good families. You could point to intelligence. You could point to hardworking. There's a lot of reasons, but overall, there's also historical reasons for why certain people dominate certain industries. When it comes to banking, just look into usury laws. When it comes to Islam and Christianity, they don't believe in usury. In Judaism, there's no law against usury, so they did it, and they did it great. And now they, have a lot of power in banking. That's just a fact. If I were to say that on a stage at the RNC or something, they'd kick me out and banish me from the party. Why? Did I lie? No. Did I tell a lie? Absolutely not. Am I mean? No. Do I hate people? No. Am I suggesting everyone's doing it? Not at all. Am I blaming them? No. It's just a factual, historical statement. But history is hate speech. You get what I'm saying? They have a word to shut down any sort of discussion. But if you really study history, you have to tell the truth. You have to mend these problems in our ethnic groups or our countries, or else they become problems that boil up and never get solved. And you're seeing it in America right now. The truth of what's going on, you're not allowed to say. The left wing won't allow you to say it. Facebook won't allow you to say it. Google won't allow you to say it. Instagram won't allow you to say it. And if you're on the right wing, you can only say so much that they think's politically correct. They can parade around with people who are gay and black and all this stuff and say, look how gay I am, look how black I am. They play identity politics. But if you were to counter that the same thing with your ethnicity, they would call you a supremacist. How is that fair? How is that equal? It's not. It doesn't make any sense. They play into the political correctness of the left. They pass speech laws for their own thing, and they just tell you they're helping, but they're not. Because the truth, you got to get to the core of it. Not in a mean way, not in a hateful way, but you got to figure out what's going on. And you got to figure out, how do we reconcile? How do we get to the bottom of what's going on? And how do we help people? When it comes to, the activism in this country right now, the black activism, we have to have these tough conversations. I don't agree with them, but we got to come to the table and say, what do you want? You can't just forever just say this and that. What do you want? What is going to make you happy? What's going to make you stop being angry and kneeling and doing all this stuff? These are conversations that need to be had. The free speech of, having tough ethnic and religious conversations. Because not all religions are the same. Christianity's not the same as Judaism. Judaism's not the same as Islam. Islam's not the same as Christianity. They have some overlap, and then they don't. And overall, most Jewish people don't even really follow Judaism as much as the Orthodox rabbi or the Talmudic rabbi or the one who believes in the Zohar or the Torah, whatever they're reading. These are different ideologies, and there's nothing hateful about exploring what they think and why they think that way. I don't understand it. The crazy part is, I say these things, you don't understand. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I have Jewish friends that I could text even crazier stuff to, and they don't care at all. They'll laugh at it because they have a sense of humor. They know I don't hate them. And I don't know, we're just friends. So we make jokes like any other group of friends does. But if I say these things publicly, they could delete my whole page. How does that even make sense? It doesn't. This whole country has gone too far politically correct, and any sort of conversation about ethnicity and, religion is deemed hate speech, not just by the left wing, but by the right wing. Someone said, what about Satanism? there's definitely people who are Satanists, and then there's people who worship Satan. This exists, and there's nothing hateful about talking about it. There's overlaps too. There's people who are just completely inverted. They're doing the inversion of Christianity. They're doing down is up is down, left is right, and they know they're doing it. And you know how they stop you from talking about it? By calling it a conspiracy theory or calling it hate speech. So all of these things are ways to shut down discussion. And this is how we fight it. I've been saying this consistently on my live streams. The way to fight it is to not play along. And I don't call out these other right-wingers because I'm jealous or hateful. I don't hate them. I think they do fantastic work. The Kirks and Shapiros, they're eloquent. They're great. But they have a major blind spot when it comes to free speech. They don't believe in free speech because they're quick to call everything anti-Semitic if they say something that they don't want you to say. Ben Shapiro has gone on, and I've said this before, God bless his soul. I think he's a nice guy. He said that he thinks it's anti-Semitism to suggest that any American Jewish person, whether it's ethnic or loyal, is dual loyalty. So in Ben Shapiro's eyes, it's hate speech to suggest any ethnic or religious Jewish American has dual loyalty. Sheldon Adelson, who's the biggest donor of the Republican Party, has said on camera he fought for the American army, and he wishes he fought for the Israeli army, and he hopes his kids fight for the Israeli army. What does that tell you? That the biggest American Republican donor, Sheldon Adelson, loves Israel. He has dual loyalty. So it's not hate speech to suggest that, it's anti-Semitism. But Ben Shapiro says it's anti-Semitism. What does that tell you if the #1 free speech advocate and the biggest right-winger on Facebook is lying to you and calling it hate speech and anti-Semitism if you recite a fact that you can prove with video evidence? It tells you that there is nobody fighting for your free speech. And until right-wingers and Christians realize this, you're going to suffer. Your country's going to be destroyed because everything that's going on in the media and entertainment isn't random. Where does this come from? It doesn't come from Christianity. Where does cuties come from? Why are they doing this? Who's allowing this? Why is this happening? How come I don't have the free speech to say what I'm saying right now, but people have the free speech in France to publish it in Netflix, to allow there to be 11-year-olds twerking? To me, that's not free speech. To me, that's like young kid pedophilia. But to them, that's free speech. But I can't talk about banking in the media, or else Ben Shapiro is going to call me names. It's like, this is not free speech, guys. This is a slow grind to America's destruction, which is why America right now is destabilized and other countries aren't. I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said, why are they putting Israel first? Because it's called Zionism. And I don't say this in a hateful way because I have love for a lot of Zionists. A lot of my friends are Zionists. Most right-wingers are Zionists. In order to understand Zionism, you have to understand what it is. Zionism was created by Theodore Herzl to reclaim Israel in the Middle East. And the Zionists from day one always prioritized Israel over America. That was their goal. They have quotes all over the place that say, in order to be a Zionist, you have to, prioritize Israel over your own country. There's groups like the Anti-Defamation League. What is the Anti-Defamation League doing? The Anti-Defamation League was founded by B'nai B'rith, which is an international secret society Jewish organization, to protect the rights of Jewish people in when Israel was created, Israel. That's their goal. They're an international organization working in the United States to overturn the Constitution to protect their ethnic group of people. But then they call you an anti-Semite if you suggest that they're doing exactly what they're doing. How does that make sense? So a lot of this stuff, when it comes to Zionism, by design, it's to protect Israel. Israel first, Jewish people first, America second, or whatever country you're in second. It's not my opinion. It's not hate speech. It's not anti-Semitism. It's facts that I can show you with historical documents, quotes, and video evidence. But that's just what they're doing. And when it comes to politics and when it comes to America, this is a group that has a lot of power. In the media, they have a lot of power. I would say perhaps almost all the power. When it comes to social media, they have almost all the power. When it comes to banking, they have almost all the power. But if you say they have the power, they'll destroy you and delete your book off Amazon because they do have the power. So why are they prioritizing Israel before America? By design, because it's Zionism. And on the left wing, you have, Zionism/communism. And on the right wing, you just have straight Zionism. So you have either America last or America second. You choose. I choose America second. You know, I like Trump and I appreciate the Republicans. I don't want to be last. I'd rather be second. You know, silver medal's pretty good. But at a certain point, you know, a silver medal gets you destabilized. You need politicians who prioritize your own people. In Israel, they prioritize Israel. In America, they prioritize Israel. That's the problem. It's not Israel's fault. It's America's fault for allowing this stuff. Someone said, I think we have too many politically correct Christians. Everyone's politically correct. If your church isn't like Black Lives Matter, left-winged out, then your church is Zionist. There's very few churches that aren't politically correct. They call you all sorts of names. It's like the Bible is not politically correct. You could read multiple scriptures. I mean, what isn't the Bible? The Bible's homophobic. The Bible's anti-Semitic. Jesus was Jewish. Why is he anti-Semitic? He's not. He just spoke the truth about everybody. He didn't mince his words for good and bad people. He said there's some good, there's some bad. You know, that's just the way it works. And every ethnicity is like, I'm this, but these people want to kill me. I'm doing this, but these people are evil. This guy's good, this guy's bad. The Bible doesn't mince its words. The Bible's not politically correct, but most churches are, because this whole country and this whole world has bought into these lies, which I'm writing my book about, of these words, these buzzwords that were invented to shut down speech. The word racist was not invented to stop racism. The word racist was created to shut down speech of certain things, and you see the way it's used now. I'm already writing about it. The people who use the word racism the most tend to be the most racist. They say race, 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 but their whole life is race. They only hire based on race. They don't like you because of their race. They want to take your money because of their race. How are they stopping racism? They're not. This word was not created to stop racism. This word was created to push a political agenda and block anybody else out of the way who disagrees with them. And same with sexist, and same with xenophobe, and same with Islamophobe, and same with anti-Semite. Most Muslims in the world are not even liberal. Most Muslims are more right-wing than most Christians. They don't believe in feminism in most Islamic countries. They believe in the opposite. They believe women should not even drive. So these terms are just made up nonsense to stop people from thinking or just like using their mind. It's like, on what planet is like LGBT Islam? Only in America, where they just make things up and censor anybody who disagrees. What do Christians do in these times? I don't know. Just don't lie and pray and just be honest. I don't know. Appreciate you, Jeff. God bless. The church has been completely, just hijacked by political correctness. A lot of liars. Listen, I was Catholic when I was younger, but I'm not really Catholic anymore. I think that the church and the Vatican deserves to be questioned with heavy scrutiny. I don't think it's anti-Christian or anti-Catholic. I think it's just smart to question the Pope. Like, imagine if people try to question the Pope, and I sat here on my platform every day and said, that's anti-Christian. Don't question my people. That's anti-Catholic. Like, no, you should question the Pope. You should question how much power he has. I wouldn't care if you said the Pope controls the media. I don't think the Pope controls the media, but if you said that, why would I shut you down? Either I could say, no, you're wrong, this is why you're wrong, or I would say, maybe you're right. But it's like this idea that the moral thing to do is call everybody a racist, sexist, xenophobe, anti-Semite. These are all words created to shut down discussion. It's factual statements are hate speech now. Facts are hate speech. It's like, what isn't hate speech? What can't you say? If I don't sit here and say, men have babies too, then I'm going to get my channel shut down. If I don't say that Muslims and Christians control the media, I get shut down. Like, what am I supposed to just sit here and just make things up? Like, men have wombs if they want. It's like, I guess they could get surgery or something, but I don't know. I live in a world where women have babies, and if you get surgery with the wombs, that's on you. But I'm not going to change the whole dictionary just to satisfy your little games you're playing. It's like the dictionary. This is why I bought a dictionary from 1828. I bought an original dictionary because this is what words are actually supposed to mean. They're not supposed to change like with the seasons. This is 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. It's okay to evolve and create new terms, but we shouldn't be changing what things mean. And that's what everyone's doing. And then I'm the crazy one for just saying what's really happening. Someone said, today you've bored me. Today was the least boring live stream ever. If you're bored by this, you probably just don't want to hear what I'm saying, because it's not what people want to hear. You want to hear the right-wingers are protecting your free speech, and they're not. And I want to say this too, because when Ron DeSantis passed the anti-Semitism bill, the biggest opponents of the anti-Semitism bill, the biggest people that were standing up for our Constitution, were actually Jews. They might have been left-wing, they might have been right-wing, I don't know, but I don't care. It was rabbis and it was lawyers who told Ron DeSantis, this bill does not help us. This bill is actually anti-First Amendment. So there's good people all over the place. And just because you pass a speech bill under the guise of anti-Semitism, it doesn't mean all Jews agree. A lot of them don't. Some do, some don't. But it's like the right wing does with Jewish people what the left wing does with Black and Hispanic. They use them as political props to achieve their goals, whether it's their goals in the Middle East or their goals domestically. When New York and California, and especially New Jersey and New York, were trying to force Hasidic Jews to take vaccines, all of these, pro-Jewish right-wingers were nowhere to be found. Where were the Kirks and the Shapiros when Hasidic Jews were being forced vaccines in New York City? All of a sudden, they don't care about freedom anymore, because they never did. They sold out the First Amendment, and then when Hasidics and Orthodox Jews are looking for help to not get vaccinated, all of a sudden they're not there, because they just used them to pass speech bills. How is that pro-freedom? I was the only one that was standing up with Jewish people saying, I think they deserve religious exemption from vaccines. I think Christians, Muslims, I think anybody should be able to be exempt. If you want to get it, you should get it. But I don't believe the state should force people to vaccinate, whether you're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. That's because I don't hate people. That's because I actually believe in freedom. I don't care what the premise is. So these are the games that the right wing plays. It's like, oh, we care about these people so much. You care about them, so you pass anti-First Amendment speech laws, and then when they're getting forced to vaccinate, you're nowhere to be found. Yeah, you don't care. You're just using them as a political prop, just like the left wing does. And then I get called an anti-Semite for saying the truth. I have no ill feelings towards anybody. I want American politicians to focus on America, and nobody's really allowed to. And that's why they hate Trump so much. Why does the media hate Trump? Because he actually somewhat cares about this country, and they can't stand it. He actually prioritizes us higher than any politician ever has. He prioritizes manufacturing, culture. These are things that were foreign concepts to any politician since probably, the 70s or something. So they hate him. Even though he does a lot for what they want him to do, they still hate it. It's like they hate anybody that prioritizes America towards the top. Someone said freedom. I'm just trying to set America free. And someone said, New York passed a law, basically. New York and New Jersey and California were trying to pass a law that said kids have to get vaccinated or else they can't go to school. And one of the biggest opponents of that bill were Orthodox Jews in New York, because a lot of the Orthodox Jews don't want the vaccine. And I believe that they shouldn't have to take it. I don't know. I don't think the state should force people to vaccinate. If you want to get it, it's fine, but I believe in medical freedom. I just don't see very many freedom fighter Republicans saying that stuff. Do I think Trump has a lot of American investments, that's why he cares about America? No, I think Trump generally cares about America. I don't think it's just because he's selfish and he has money here. I think he really does. I mean, part of it, I think, historically, he's a businessman, so he saw from a business perspective how America was being taken advantage of. So I think a lot of it was maybe like business-minded, but I don't think Trump is necessarily like only trying to protect his business interests. I think he generally likes America, but also Trump, he knows who has the power. He knows what he can and can't say. There's probably certain things he has to do. Sheldon Adelson gave the Republicans like $100 million. When you give somebody that much money, Sheldon Adelson's not giving the Republicans $100 million so they can do whatever they want. He's giving them $100 million so he can get something what he wants done. And what does Sheldon Adelson want done? Protection for Israel. This is not my opinion. This is not hate speech. You just watch a video of Sheldon Adelson. Google his name in the Middle East. This is why he gives money to the Republicans, so he can craft his Middle East strategy for what he wants America to do. So I think Trump loves America, but I also think, just like the left wing, the right wing takes a lot of big money. And the big money happens to come from the same place. And it's not they would say this is hate speech for saying this. I mean, I don't know what I could tell you that's not in Israeli publications. You could look up in Israeli publications like Jerusalem Post, who gives the most money to the Democrats. Look it up. 50% of the Democrats' money came from Jewish donors. This is not my opinion. This is not hate speech. This is a factual statement that's in Israeli Jewish publications. But if I were to say it, they would say that's hate speech. Why are they giving money? Some are giving it for some reasons. Some are giving it for the others. But it's not hate speech to try to look at the person and look what they're doing. For instance, what is George Soros doing? I think what he's doing is different from what Sheldon Adelson's doing. But they're both doing something, are they not? Why is he giving billions of dollars to, all these organizations? Does he really care about black activism? Maybe, but maybe not. He's also manipulated the currencies in Thailand, and I don't know if it's Thailand, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the Asian countries, and the UK. There's articles all over about it. So it's like, these are big players. Why can you not talk about it? Why is it hate speech to suggest that big players are making big moves? It's hate speech because they also lobby to get a bunch of these groups to not get you to say that. And it's on both sides. Both sides will shut you down if you say anything. Why? Are they paid off? Are they dishonest? Are they brainwashed? I don't know. It's not my job to figure out why they're lying. It's my job to tell the truth. It's it's just a fact. I don't know. I wish I could just lie about it, but it's just what's happening. Someone said, if you tell the full truth, you're likely to upset people on both sides of the aisle. Someone said you're off topic. Well, I already talked about it at the beginning. I've been here for like an hour, so I'm not really off topic. I'm just, at the end of my live streams, I answer questions. We do like a question and answer. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate it. I'm going to read this from Barbie Villarreal. She said, everything you said is true. There was so much more peace in the Middle East until the U.S. tried to move into other countries. And the thing is, people don't dissect it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. In general, why did America do that? Why did they go there? There's multiple reasons. I mean, like Trump says, the people who make the bombs and the planes want to make more money. So there's the military-industrial complex, and there's also foreign policy. Who drives our foreign policy? A certain country has a lot of power with driving foreign policy in the media and in politics and in lobbying. It's just what's going on. And if you really want to understand what's happening, you have to be able to at least talk about it to then get countered. But this is why, and I'm not trying to promote the book that doesn't exist, but this is why I'm writing a book. I'm so inspired, not about myself. I'm not going to tell you about my life and how great I am and what I did. I'm going to tell you about how they're using these words to silence discussion. Because everything I said, you could disagree with it. I wouldn't care if you said anomaly. I don't agree with 80% of what you said. But don't call me a racist. Don't call me a sexist. Don't call me an anti-Semite. Don't call me a xenophobe. Because that's a way to give yourself a fake moral high ground and say, I'm a better person than you. You hate everybody. I don't hate everybody. I could have the same conversation with my Orthodox or atheist Jewish friend, and they wouldn't care at all. But then I say this publicly, and then you're going to have a bunch of Christians tell me that I hate people. It's like, no, I'm not going to accept that. That's not true. So you get what I'm saying? You don't have to agree, but people on both sides have to stop using these words that are meant to shut down discussion. Someone says Saudi Arabia has Trump in their pocket. I mean, in general, Saudi Arabia has a lot of money and power. So does Israel. So does Soros. So does Adelson. So does, in some cases, America. There's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, people with a lot of money and a lot of power get their way. Iran doesn't have this type of money. Syria doesn't have this type of money, so they don't get this type of treatment. It's not racist to suggest that people with money in this world and power get more favor from America, from Trump. That's just the way the world works. If Trump goes to a deal and you got nothing for him, he's not going to you don't get anything. That's just like business 101, but if you have a country with billions of dollars or you have, massive systemic power across the world, you're going to get more at the table. It's not a hateful thing to say. It's just literally what's happening. Like, why, why is this happening? Who owns what? Who's got what power? Is it Islamophobic to suggest Saudi Arabia has a lot of oil money? No, that's a fact. If I were to say that, would you call me Islamophobic? I don't think so. So why would people say it's anti-Semitic to talk about other powerful institutions and who controls them? It's just the people with power don't want to be questioned, and they want to set traps for people to think that they're somehow helping people by not. But I'm telling you, they're not helping the average person. Someone said Trump's not in anybody's pocket. Well, here's what I'm saying. They said that he's in their pocket. I'm not saying Trump's taking money, but he does business. When you do business, you understand who has money and who doesn't. Trump's not getting bribed by Saudi Arabia, but if you come to the table with $1 trillion and you come to the table with $100, the guy with the $1 trillion is going to get a more favorable deal. Is Trump selling out? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he understands who has the money and who doesn't. You think he doesn't know who has power in New York City? He's worked in New York City for 80 years. You read Art of the Deal. He talks about it all the time. In Art of the Deal, he calls people names. He's like King. There's this one guy. He was like King. I call him King Jeffrey or something. He used to make up names in the Art of the Deal and make fun of people in New York City for being spoiled. He knows who has money and power. It's not necessary. It's just business. You got to make transactions with certain people in this world. Overall, I think Trump has done a very phenomenal job, but there's just certain things that are happening that aren't going to get healed until things change. So I can't sit here and what Trump is doing more than anyone else has ever done. And I'm very grateful. But at a certain point, America is still destabilized. Is it Trump's fault? Did Trump destabilize it? No. But is he fighting for free speech? Kind of, but not, in some ways, not really. His mere presence is helping. But when you pass a speech bill or an executive order blocking protests, that's not really helping. This is all I'm trying to just have a nuanced conversation about it. Be like, his grade before this shutdown, I would say 9.9 out of 10. He's crushing it. This shutdown kind of sucked, to be honest. I would say I'd drop him down to an 8 out of 10, but still, overall, it's these are the conversations that need to be had. And if you can't have them, then, we're going to be in trouble. Someone said, I know this is off topic, but what do you think about the Great Reset? This entire year, in many ways, was orchestrated. I'm not saying the virus wasn't real. The virus is real. But this year, how they orchestrated it was orchestrated. And I could prove that it was pre-planned. In Event 201, which happened in October or November by the World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Johns Hopkins University, 3 people involved in what's going on now, they planned out and they aired it on YouTube exactly what they would do during a coronavirus pandemic. This is not my theory. This is a fact. They planned and laid a blueprint down. When a coronavirus pandemic comes, we're going to do all this. And they did it all this year. So they laid out that entire blueprint last year. Who is the World Economic Forum? The World Economic Forum also hosts Davos every year in Davos, which is in Switzerland, I believe, which is a big, schmoozy billionaire sort of thing where all these rich people plan how they're going to do whatever they're going to do to you. And at Davos, which is World Economic Forum, the same people who did Event 201, George Soros said this year that Trump better be worried because the economy is going to collapse. He didn't say because of coronavirus. He just said it was going to collapse, and then it did collapse. And now those same people at Davos are planning the Great Reset. Am I supposed to think this is all random? Facebook can delete my page. Both parties can call me a conspiracy theorist. But these are the games that they play, which is why I'm writing the book, to explain exactly how they're playing them, to stop intellectual discussion. This stuff is not random. Great Reset, Event 201, this entire year, the shutdown of society, the expanding wealth of Amazon and Facebook, this is not random. They planned this stuff. They have a blueprint available on YouTube that happened before they did it, and then they call you a conspiracy theorist if you suggest they're doing it. So are they doing a Great Reset? Absolutely. There's people who consolidated power and who are going to try to do some sneaky stuff. And there's two options. Either Trump is in the way and they can't stand him, or they're using Trump as a scapegoat to do it anyway. So when the election comes in, they're already planning the coup. Just like they've done in other countries, they've destabilized America. So when the election results come in and Trump's ahead by a lot, Facebook and Twitter have already laid down a blueprint to delete and censor anybody that says Trump won the election. Have you ever seen this ever? Even if you were wrong. In, what was it, Bush and Gore? Was that who it was? George Bush and Gore, when they had the recount in Florida? Did you get deleted out of existence if you said Bush won, Gore won, Bush won? They didn't censor you, because that's not how America works. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to say something that didn't happen. That's just, unfortunately, how it works. But now they're gonna censor you on Twitter and Facebook if you say Trump won when Trump essentially won. They're going to and trying to not only great reset the world, but plan and stage some sort of a sneaky digital coup in the United States of America. What was Russiagate? Was Russiagate this profound thing that they had a lot of evidence? No, they made their own dossier. They worked with people at Yahoo to put out a story, brought the evidence to the FISA courts, used it to spy on an incoming president, and then used a 2-year investigation with, you know, the guy who literally took the FBI director position before 9/11, Robert Mueller, with Bush, to dive into Trump's stuff for 2 years and find nothing. It was a coup attempt. They tried to take power back from the president. They messed up. They deleted a bunch of cell phones. They did all sorts of phony work. That didn't work. What happened as soon as that was done? The Ukraine Gate. As soon as Russiagate died, Ukraine Gate was there. It was Adam Schiff pretending to hear something, and then he got caught basically exaggerating, and instead of saying he lied, he said he was reciting a parody of what happened. Is that what they do in Congress? They recite parodies? They tell you a joke? No, he got caught lying, but they still went ahead of it, and they had Vindman and Yovankovich and all these people, try to coup Trump, including people that Trump himself hired. And then when that didn't work, the entire world fell apart. And isn't that interesting? So it's just coup after coup after coup after coup. They can't accept Trump at all. So either they get power, and this is just historically how they operate in politics anyway, either their puppet gets in or they make the puppet be a puppet. And although Trump, in some ways, I think has bent the knee, in a lot of ways he hasn't bent the knee. And that's why they hate him. You could say Trump has made mistakes. You could say he's compromised. You could say he's sold some things out, but he hasn't fully compromised. He hasn't fully bent the knee. And I think that's why they hate him, because he's not controllable. He might do what they want him to do sometimes, but they can't make him do everything they want him to do. Biden, total puppet. Obama, mostly total puppet. Clinton, puppet. This Romney, puppet. McCain, puppet. Trump, not so much. You might not like him. You might not agree with his agenda, but he's not completely controllable, and that's why they hate him. Even his mouth. Even if his mouth is not controllable, and it's fantastic. The people who say, even right-wingers will be like, Trump needs to shut up. It's like, no, he should just keep talking. Trump should literally, someone said delete your Facebook accounts. Well, I don't know about that, but they're trying to take the country by force because they can't take it by ballot box. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's all because Trump is the most corrupt president ever. He's probably the least corrupt president ever. He's in modern history, he's the most scrutinized president. He's the most investigated president, and he's the least corrupt president probably we've ever had. And I mean, the media just says the opposite. But what's up with Biden? I can't really tell you. I think he's kind of losing it, but someone said you got to choose your battle sometimes. No, for sure. That's why I give Trump the pass on a lot of things. But for me, I don't agree with anti-First Amendment stuff, and I think the First Amendment's important. If he has to do it, that's on him. I don't know what conversations he has, but as a citizen, I don't have to say it's okay because it's not okay. So, I'm sure if he's a good person, he wants people to oppose certain things. And if he's confused or lost, he'll want people to lead him in the right direction. So, I think either way, we have to stand up for our First Amendment, regardless who gives it away. Someone said, I used to hate listening to Trump. Now I like listening to him. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the best person to listen to out of anybody in politics, no question. Someone said, think about it this way. The press hated Lincoln too. I'm sure they did. I mean, if you really want me to drop gems that's going to get me in trouble, since I've already gotten myself in trouble this live stream, you should look into Nixon, Richard Nixon, who got impeached. Look into that whole thing, because I think he must have been doing something that they didn't like, because they investigated him unlike anything else. Here's a historical gem that's going to get me in trouble. If you want to hear something interesting, Google Richard Nixon, Billy Graham, Nixon tape. Billy Graham, who's one of the most powerful and most famous evangelicals in modern U.S. history. Everybody knows Billy Graham, right? The big Christian leader. All the Christians know Billy Graham. Listen to what Billy Graham said to Richard Nixon on the tapes. This will get me in trouble, but I don't care. It's history. He said, I feel powerless. This is the most powerful Christian in the world telling Richard Nixon, I feel completely powerless because these group of people control everything. I didn't say it. Billy Graham said it. He apologized, but he, just like Nick Cannon, he probably didn't mean it. So you want to look that up, Google Billy Graham, Richard Nixon, Nixon tape, and you could hear what he got caught saying on the tape. Do I think this election will be able to avoid taking over corruption? No, it's going to be a crazy election. I think, it'll get sorted out eventually, but it's going to be a little wild. Do I think there's going to be a civil war? I don't know. I mean, there's already kind of someone said this on Twitter, and I thought it was pretty profound. I would say, someone said there's local civil wars right now, and on November there's going to be a national civil war. In the sense of Portland, Seattle, what you're seeing in these is basically like a local civil war, in some sense, but it's between the police and the radicals. And in November they're going to try to do a nationwide one. But I would say there's a lot of things in America that need to be sorted out. I'll just say that, because, and this is why I speak the raw truth. This is why I crack through the right-wing political correctness and the left-wing political correctness. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate any country. I don't hate any people. I have no hate in my heart for innocent people. I have truth in my heart for wicked people. And I don't care if the wicked people are Christian. I'm not going to stop saying it just because they share my religion. I don't care if the wicked people are Muslim. I'm not going to not say it because I love my Muslim brothers and sisters. And I don't care if the wicked people are Jewish. I don't care that I love my Jewish friends. And I love all good, innocent Jewish people around the world. I'm not going to not say it just because they have a certain ethnicity. Good people deserve protection. And wicked people deserve to be, talked about just like everyone else is. So, the only way we're going to really get past all this stuff in this country is by having tough discussions. And I think this country has a lot of problems coming our way. Demographically, I'm mixed myself. I grew up in a place where there are Asians, Indian, Black. I grew up in a diverse place. It's all love. I don't have a hate in my heart for any ethnicity, but what people don't realize is the American experiment is very unique. China is not diverse, and China's putting Black people and Muslims in camps. The Middle East is not diverse. I mean, Syria, maybe a little bit, some other places, Lebanon, but there's problems with the diversity in Lebanon. They got the socialists, they got the, Hezbollah, they got the Christians. There's some problems there as well. So most countries are not this diverse. Why do I say that? We have good food, we have great culture, but at the same time, this is an experiment that has really never been tested. and it's not really aging very well, because in order to have this much diversity, you have to have a common theme. You have to have a common uniting thing. And we have one, the flag, and America, and the media, who controls the culture in our country, is turning people against that. So we have a media system who hates the country, hates these people, and won't allow Black, white, Hispanic, Christian, Muslim, Jewish to get along under the American flag. So we have big problems coming our way. And when things break down, people get more tribal. This is just the reality of it. So in general, if you know anybody who went to jail, in jail, a lot of the groups are Hispanic groups, Blacks, and then the whites. Because when everything breaks down, people get tribal. That's what happens in jail. A lot of these people in America are tribal. A lot of Black people are tribal. A lot of Jews are tribal. A lot of white people can be tribal. Asians are tribal. When Chinese people come here, they have Chinatown. Why? Because they're tribal. So when society breaks down and when destabilization comes, people choose their tribes off, and that's just human nature. I don't care what people do. Sometimes people's tribe can be, I like basketball, I like Trump, but I think that's what happens in jail, and that's what's gonna happen in America. People will splinter. That's just what happens naturally. So I think these are things you can't even talk about, because it's like, this is not sustainable. It could be sustainable if the media didn't hate us, but the media does hate us. Facebook, they don't allow us to do the one thing that we can unite on, which is the flag and America. They're actively pouring billions of dollars into destabilizing us. Facebook, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Mr. Liberal, they're all destabilizing us. I mean, all these activist groups, LeBron, Adam Silver, the MLB commissioner, whatever, whoever's orchestrating all this stuff, they're all destabilizing us. So how are there not, regardless of what you want to call it, civil war, this or that, there's some big issues in America, and the only way to solve it is to really get to the core of it. I don't know what to tell people. So I'll take the blows, I'll take the lies. People could call me whatever they want, but I have no hate in my heart. I just want to get to what's going on, because it's only going to get weirder if nobody talks about it or solves it. Let me see. Frau Powell said, we need to bring back what it means to be American, regardless of race or color. Well, that's the issue that we have, is that Trump is trying to do that. Republicans and conservatives, that's what they're trying to do. Black conservatives, white conservatives, everybody that likes Trump is basically like, I'm American. We don't care that you're black. But what does the left wing do? They say, well, I'm black, you're this, you're that. I got to go here, you got to go there. If everybody was Republican, or at least conservative in this country, you'd have unity. If everybody was liberal in this country, there would be no unity. Everyone would hate each other. There would be a hierarchical system of race. The left wing is ridiculous. Everything they do is wrong. I spent a large portion of this live stream criticizing the right, but the left is all loopy. So if everyone was right wing, this country would be fine. But what you have is right wing people are the most demonized by the media, which is not only left wing, but also tribal in their own way, but won't allow anyone else to be tribal. And the only way the American tribe will ever be able to long-term succeed is if everybody respects our ethnic differences without making a big deal about it all the time. You could dance and hang out with who you want. You could even, self-segregate and make Chinatown. But we can't have the media acting this way forever. I mean, they're so evil. The media is, and it's all of them, and they're all doing it. So it's not sustainable. And that's why Trump is doing the Lord's work when he says the media is the enemy of the people. That right there is perhaps the greatest thing that Trump did. It's amazing. A president who says the media is evil, that's great. That alone sets Trump above a lot of other people, He's totally right about that, and that's why they hate him as well. And that statement and that energy given to America is enough. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize just for calling out the media. Give him 3 Nobel Peace Prizes. He deserves it over anyone else. Someone said, is it that Billy Graham says, I can't tell you about Billy Graham's whole history. I'm just saying if you want to learn something you'll never learn on the news, the most powerful Christian in the world, Billy Graham, went to the White House, which is Richard Nixon, the most powerful position perhaps in the world. You have the most powerful American and the most powerful Christian, and Billy Graham said to Nixon on the Nixon tapes, he got recorded, he said, I feel powerless. I feel powerless. Why did he feel powerless? Find out on the next episode of Look It Up so I don't get in trouble for saying it. Someone said, I never realized how evil the media was until Trump. Yeah, a lot of people learned through Trump. That's why Trump is a legend. He got millions of people who never really scrutinized the media to realize that the media was bad hombres. So I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said, Anomaly, have you donated any of the money you're making off God Bless? No, I haven't. If I didn't claim to, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. I never said that I was, so it shouldn't be surprising. If I was going to donate it, I'd tell you. But in general, if I were to donate, I've donated before, I'd be very careful to where I spent my money, because a lot of these organizations, 1% of the money goes to people. You give them this money, it goes to bureaucrats. How many employees are there? I'm going to pay this charity, so 95% of it can go to employees who sit in a desk and do nothing. I'm better off just using it towards myself or stuff that can benefit me for making more videos. I gave like $2,000 to $4,000 out of my own pocket with no tax returns or anything. When the shutdown happened and people were losing a lot of stuff, before the checks came in, before Trump gave people money, I gave $3,000 of my own money to people just through Venmo and PayPal. I didn't have to do that, so I don't know. It's like I don't have to justify myself, but it's like, no, I'm not donating it. And it's first of all, I don't have, like, what people don't realize too, I appreciate you, Paula. What people don't realize too is I don't get health insurance, I don't have a 401k, I don't have any sort of future stuff. And in one day, just for telling you what I just told you, they could take away everything. I have no account for like people have when they work at a company. I have no benefits. I have really no freedom or rights. So when I'm able to make money off the hats, I'm able to have power over a lot of these companies, where if Facebook or whoever takes away my money, I have no money. I have no income. I lose everything. I lose everything I saved. And if I can make money elsewhere, now I have power. Now I have leverage. Now I'm able to say, well, now I can make as much selling hats and shirts as I can making videos. So I don't even have to be on your platform. If I were to do this, sell a book, sell one more thing, I'll potentially make more money on this than videos. Now I could completely move platforms if I wanted to. So there's a lot of leverage there. Not that I have to justify myself, I'm just being honest. Someone said, I think people are okay. Well, no, the way they put it is like, if I said I was donating to charity and I was pocketing the money, that's messed up, but I never said I was. I think, I don't mean to be controversial, but I think a lot of charities are overrated. And it's not because I'm selfish. I've seen how a lot of them operate. A lot of charities don't get to the core of the problem. They just shuffle money around their employees. They got 100 employees. They pocket 95% of it. And then the 5% that they actually do, they're not even doing the right thing. I've watched organizations that I appreciate. They don't solve any of the problems that they claim to solve. I respect the ones that go and help people and really do stuff, but how much of the money is going to that? How much is getting shuffled around? And all the money that's not getting shuffled around, how much of it is being used properly to actually solve the problem? When California gets $1 billion of my taxpayer money, I could say, oh, I'm a good person, I gave them $10,000, but where did that $10,000? Out of the $10,000, maybe 500 of it went towards the cause. Out of that 500 of it, how much of that solved the cause? Maybe none of it did. Maybe you just spent $10,000 to get shuffled around an office, and the money that actually got spent didn't do a single thing because they're not smart enough to actually figure out how to solve the problem in general. With most groups that are doing homelessness, that's how they work. The one group that I was going to donate to last year, I saw somebody going around my neighborhood in Los Angeles. It was a bunch of ex-felons with this lady, and they were picking up trash. I took a picture and I said, "Who do you work for?" And she told me, "This is my organization." I'm like, you know why I'm going to donate to them? Because I could see them doing something. They're picking up trash in my neighborhood, and no one picks up trash in my neighborhood. I'm not just going to virtue signal and say I'm giving money to some organization just to act like a good person. If I'm giving any money to anybody, I'm making sure it's getting used properly. I'm not just going to... Someone said, I've never donated to charities. I like to donate directly to my friends or family that I know help someone, not a corporation or foundation. Oh, for sure. I mean, this year I've given $2,000 to $4,000 to people in Venmo, and someone in my family just got in an accident and had like some serious damage, and I'm gonna help replace their teeth most likely. So I'm gonna spend a lot of money to replace my family's teeth because they got knocked out recently in a bad accident, if you really want to know. So I'll spend my money where I want. I'm not just gonna give it to some bureaucratic organization. Someone said, where does the California lottery money go? All tax money is wasted. California has the most poverty and the biggest one of the biggest homeless crises and one of the worst poverties. The biggest economy. Money doesn't necessarily translate to effectiveness. You know, you could give $1 trillion to LeBron James. He couldn't fix Chicago. I could give all my money to an organization, they wouldn't be able to do a single thing. I'm better off just keeping it, not becoming poor, and you know, trying to educate people than I am. Oh, let me donate to this school so they can brainwash people. I'll pass. Someone said, anyone know if the boycott of Netflix was effective? I don't know. Let me look at their stock real quick. No, I don't. I guess their stock is doing fine. Do I have any Jesus hats? Just the God bless. I mean, someone said, this is your business. You don't have to explain yourself. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to make videos. But I choose to because I want to. If I didn't, I'd just ignore it. So I don't mind explaining myself when I want to. I watched Nick Cannon interview Kanye West. Nick Cannon's such a phony, such an annoying, phony guy. But Kanye's great. And Kanye was trying to say, Nick Cannon was like, why did you meet with Jared Kushner? Everybody wants to know why you met with Jared Kushner. And Kanye's answer is fantastic. He says, listen, I don't have to justify myself. He said, if I just met with Jared Kushner to get some ice cream, I can meet with Jared Kushner to get some ice cream. If I didn't, I didn't. I don't have to justify to you. Kanye said, I'm a free man. I loved it. He said, when I was younger, they pulled me over and they said, you know, my car and me look like somebody else. He said, you're making me feel like a prisoner again, where you're making me feel like the cops when they pull me over and say, oh, I thought you were, where were you going? Because I thought you were this person. He said, that's what Black America's doing to me by trying to demand that I tell them why I met with Kushner. He said, I don't have to explain myself. Maybe we just got ice cream. Maybe we're friends. Maybe we didn't. Who are you to tell me where I can and can't go and who I can and can't meet with? But this is how people treat each other. But I love that in the Kanye interview. It was awesome. He was just like, maybe we got ice cream. Maybe we didn't. He's like, get off, leave me alone. Someone said, are you drinking I'm drinking kombucha. A little ginger ale kombucha. I'm going to read this real quick. Priscilla said, totally agree. Put your money where you can see it work. I used to support the Komen charity. Too much money went to paychecks. Yeah, I mean, depending how big the organization is, if you got 3,000 employees or 100 or 200 employees, they're getting most of the money. You have to pay people in order to work there. A lot of things in Washington, they call them NGOs. They call them non-government organizations and, charity organizations. A lot of that is buzzwords in Washington. That's where all the money is. Why is it not, nonprofit, NPO, nonprofit organization. That's a big buzzword. You go to Washington, I work for a nonprofit organization. What does that mean? Does it mean you're not making profit? No, it means they figured out some sort of scheme to save money and they're making a lot of money, but they don't make profits for the whole company. But just because it's a nonprofit organization, it doesn't mean the people. You might have a $200,000 salary working at a nonprofit organization. So someone said ice cream is a pedo code. Yeah, but this is the thing though. Ice cream is also a food. This is where people get a little messed up. Obviously, you can look at the FBI code book and see what is pedophile code and not. But that doesn't mean that everybody who talks about ice cream is talking about pedophilia. That's not how it works. Ice cream's also a food. So if I go get ice cream with my friend and you accuse me of going to do pedophile stuff, it's like, do you think that there's not a single person that eats ice cream or pizza? People got to get a grip. I'm not sitting here and telling you, like the media, that it's not a code. I have Google. I could look up the FBI codes. I could look up reports. I know that it's a code, but it's also a food. So I'm part Italian. You know, I have friends that work for pizzerias. They're not running pedophile operations. They literally run a pizzeria. 99.9% of pizzerias are just serving pizza. I'm sure that some aren't. I'm not sitting here to tell you that you can't investigate, but people get blown. They're like, well, Kanye said ice cream, so he must. It's like, no, he's eating ice cream, dude. He's just talking about like going out with a friend. I got ice cream with a friend last week at an ice cream store. It's okay to understand, yes, it's a code, but also it's a food. Pizza's a food. Ice cream's a food. So you can't accuse 100% of people who talk about ice cream and pizza as being pedos, because then you become like the person who just accuses everybody of being racist. So this is something that people need to learn. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but to suggest that anybody who ever uses the word again is doing it is insane. You know, it's like people are going to go to pizzerias and eat pizza, and people are going to go to ice cream shops and eat ice cream, and then some people are going to do really messed up stuff and use those words as codes. But you know, it's like, I don't know. The amount of people who don't understand that is pretty alarming. Someone said, no wonder I love you. I love Italians. I mean, I'm Italian, Polish, Puerto Rican, I think Czechoslovakian. Someone said American nationalism is not white supremacy. No, it's not, but the people who use the word white supremacy the most are not even trying to stop supremacy. They just say that to shut down anybody who disagrees with them. It's like, if you're somebody that's a horrible person that says, I'm the best, you're the worst, everybody else needs to die, it's like, okay, you're a terrible person. But if you're simply just saying, I love my country, or I don't want my country to be another country, there's nothing wrong with that. Saudi Arabia, if Saudi Arabia was getting, filled with 50% white Americans, and then they said, oh, I don't want Saudi Arabia to be white, I want it to be Saudi Arabian, would I call them Saudi supremacists or white supremacists? No, I would be like, I get it. It makes sense. You want your country to be your people. It's not even like, even the right wing doesn't understand that. I have no love or tolerance for people that are evil or mean, but this idea that Europe and America have to be like everyone else, but every other country on the planet is, has an identity, it doesn't make sense. It's a scheme that both parties fall for in order to not only destabilize the country, but just not allow you to even have any sort of opinion or perspective on anything. Of course, American nationalism is not white supremacy, but even 90% of what they say is white supremacy is not white supremacy. And most of the people who say that are working for people who work specifically for their ethnic group and do every single thing that they accuse other people of not doing. So it's all hypocrisy. It's all manipulation of the English language to silence, censor, and shut down anybody that opposes their agenda of like a massive power grab. Have I considered running for office? No. I like the media, I like music, but more than even music, I like media. I like educating, I like learning, and I like sharing what I learned with other people. So I think it's more, I'm sure I've inspired people who are running for office right now. I'm positive I have. I know I've inspired and helped many of the biggest, brightest people in the game get to where they're at. And I think I like planting seeds. So if I could plant seeds and other people can run for Congress, that's fine. Maybe when I'm older, but I don't want to go to Washington. I don't like these people. No disrespect, but it's too fake. Everything's too fake. I don't like to be in rooms with a bunch of people that are fake. So I don't want to go to Washington and be in a room with a bunch of people. That doesn't sound fun. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate it. Rebecca said you're very inspirational. Well, thank you. That's good to know. It's better than being racist, sexist, xenophobe, or whatever. Are you a vinyl guy? No, I'm not. I don't have vinyls, but I would like to be a vinyl guy. I think vinyls are cool, but I kind of just listen to Spotify. I should start getting vinyls, though. You made me want to get it. Someone said, what do you think about Shiva and the fraud in the primary? People have asked me this earlier. I like Dr. Shiva a lot. I've talked to him multiple times. I think Shiva is a fire starter. I think he's a feisty guy, and I think he's someone that just does not take no. Like, he's the type, if you tell him no, he's going to do it 20 times harder. I think he is he's a guy, he's a go-getter, and you know, I think he's got rare energy. You know, I love Shiva. When it comes to his results, I haven't looked into it enough. Could it be that they cheated? Of course, obviously. Could it be that he just lost? I think so. I'm not saying he did, but sometimes national attention does not translate to local attention. Like, Omar Navarro was very popular among right-wing circles around the U.S., but he lost to, you know, what's her name? Maxine Waters by like a lot. Because it doesn't translate. Just because you have a lot of social media following doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win it. You have to win in your district. So I saw Cenk Uygur got destroyed, even though he's one of the biggest people on YouTube. I'm not saying Shiva could have got cheated. He could have, but also he could have just lost. That's just my perspective from not looking into it. I'm not saying anything pro or con against it. I'm just saying, you know, I see that as a possibility either way. But I didn't look into how they did it or how they counted. That's just my thoughts from the outside in. Someone said vinyl LPs sold more this year than in 1986. That's pretty cool. That's a very cool fact. Thanks for sharing. Peggy says stay positive. Exactly. Someone said, I saw some of Shiva's rallies. It's like 5 people. Well, he's had some big events. He's had some small events. But to me, it seems like, yeah, national attention does not translate to local elections. Like, I'm a big deal maybe on the internet, but if I ran for my district, how many people know me in my district? How many people want to vote for me? You know, I wouldn't say I knew they cheated unless I for sure knew they cheated. Like, there is a chance that it just doesn't translate locally, but I don't know. That's my thoughts, because I know he's a firebrand. But Lorraine said, my husband bought me one of your shirts. Well, God bless you, Lorraine. I'm sure you look fantastic in it. Someone said, do I think a large majority of wins by Democrats have been cheating with mail-in ballots? I don't know if I can say that. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. But I think at the end of the day, we have to look forward and say, what's going on with this election? How are we going to make sure it's fair? How are we going to have people keep an eye on stuff? Because the past doesn't really matter. It's like when people want to recall Gavin Newsom. It's like, we can't recall Gavin Newsom. We got to just win the election, you know? Just focus on the next election and win it. Someone said the crowd at Trump rallies have been huge. Trump's way more popular right now than he was 4 years ago. For every one person that went from voting for Trump to not voting for Trump, there's got to be like 50 people who are going to vote for him. The media's wrong. Millions of people now support him that didn't support him in 2016. He's going to get more votes, I think, no question. I think they're panicking, personally. I think they're trying to figure out a way to scheme their way out of this one, but we'll see. Do you have a set time that I come on with the question and answer? No, I just kind of wing it, to be honest. I just kind of like wing when I'm coming on and when I'm not coming on. Leah said, I was a Dem, not Republican. I was donating to Act Blue. And when I switched my party, somebody used my information to switch my party back again. It was the weirdest thing. Wow, that's crazy. Someone said, PJ said, digital music creates anxiety. Vinyl moves the soul because it's analogous to the waves of music. Man, PJ, you're trying to get me on the vinyl wave. You keep talking like that, I'm gonna get on Amazon and buy a vinyl thing right now. That's how you get me involved. You just tell me things like that. I'm looking around now where I'd put it too. I think I should get a good little vinyl vibe. I like that. You guys are selling me. Keep going. I'll get some. I have a Stevie Wonder vinyl, so I can finally use it if I get it. Where's my Stevie Wonder vinyl? Oh yeah, I have it back there. When will this be on YouTube, said Natalie. I'm gonna put it on YouTube as soon as I end, and I'll probably take it off Facebook within the first couple hours, because I don't know. I feel like they're dying to delete this for hate speech, so I don't know. I'll probably just move it to Facebook or YouTube and BitChute. Local vinyl shops. Yeah, I guess things are open now. I'll check it out. But all right, you guys are inspiring me. So get a vinyl and then go to local vinyl shops. Don't go to Amazon. All right, you're right. If I buy it on Amazon, I'm giving Jeff Bezos money. I should go give it to a local shop. All right, good job, guys. You convinced me. I never used Amazon until they shut down. They made it impossible to go anywhere, and I don't like wearing a mask. So I walk in, they're like, can you wear a mask? And I'm like, now I'm just going to give Jeff Bezos the money because you're annoying me. They're like, can you pull the mask over your nose, please? I tried to buy a bike. I need a bike. I want a bike. And I go in the bike shop, and I have a mask on up to here. And then he's like, can you put the mask on over your nose, sir? I'm like, dude, just leave me alone, bro. I have the mask on over my face. Like, you think there's just viruses coming out my nose? He's like, oh, like everyone just dies. Like, dude, relax. I'm fine. So when I go to FedEx later to mail the supporters, we have supporters only live streams for supporters every month, and 5 people, I think, won signed shirts. I'm going to go to the thing and wear this. I'm not wearing a mask anymore. I'm wearing this. Maybe not on a plane. Maybe I'll have to wear a mask on a plane. But I'm so tired of these people. It's like, just stop. They're opening my gym, and they're saying I have to wear a mask at the gym. I'm not wearing a mask at the gym. You might see me on the news because I might get arrested. I'm not doing these things anymore. Excuse me. Someone said, Trump said he'll drain the swamp and he's working on it. If he gets elected again, do you think he can fulfill his promise? I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to have to be a bigger thing. I think he could, but I also think he couldn't. Like, he could, and then he couldn't. But I think what's important is for conservatives and liberals to get to a point where they're not falling for so many traps. Get to a point where they demand First Amendment. Get to a point where someone like a Trump or, God forbid, a Pelosi or whoever, they know they can't win the election unless they stand up for free speech. Right now, the Overton window is so far shifted that, these politicians don't really prioritize certain things. But even with the shutdown, we're so brainwashed that, like, it became a popular stance to shut down. So if Trump opens up, he might lose the election for doing the right thing. So we can't blame even Trump for everything. I'll call him out when I disagree with him, but it's really our fault, And that's, even with all this other stuff, they say, well, anomaly is blaming Israel. Israel's doing what Israel should be doing. I'm not blaming them. If anything, I'm complimenting them. I think they're clearly either smarter or craftier than American politicians. It's not their fault. It's not their job to do that. They're doing their job. Who's not doing their job? Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. These are the people who aren't doing their job. So how is it a diss? It's a compliment. It's like their job is focusing on their country. Our job should be America first, and then they can be second. But it shouldn't be the other way around. So you get what I'm saying? It's got to come from us because clearly the Overton window has been moved so far in this country that, like, even what Trump did is, like, considered revolution. Trump is like any president ever should be. And just the fact that he has the gall to be like, let's move American businesses back to America. They're like, oh my God, the racist Nazis here. It's Hitler. It's Hitler. It's like, what? Because an American politician believes in America? Like, the Overton window's way too far left or whatever, way too far wrong. We need to bring it Bring it on back. So then we could actually do this stuff. Someone said, I started wearing a full-on gas mask to Walmart. Finally, they asked me to take it off because it was freaking out people so much. Now I don't have to wear anything. Ashley, you're a legend. That's great. That's what I'm hoping happens with my thing. They're going to be like, you can't wear the mask. I'm like, just stop. Just stop. Can you take the helmet off, sir? The helmet's not enough. Why is the helmet not enough? The helmet's not enough because I'm a power-hungry tyrant and I have big boy powers now and I'm just going to make up my own rules. Stop. Leave me alone. It's like, can you not put that on your face? Is there a rule, a mandate, or are you just making up shit because you have power now? All right, I got to go in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but how are we so prosperous? Someone said, how are we so prosperous but only get 1,206 months when others actually take care of their people? Because I'm telling you, both parties are so far gone and so far sold out, and very few people have America's best interests at heart. So even if a president comes in and tries to do the right thing, it's not possible because there's not enough people in politics, in media, in culture, in anything to actually go along with them. Look how much they're freaking out. You got like, what's his name? Marxist Cuban. Marxist Cuban's like, it's like, bro, shut up. Why? Like, Marxist Cuban needs to calm down. His whole life is pretending to be Trump. The least he can do is say, thank you, Daddy Trump, for inspiring me to make Shark Tank. Why did he make Shark Tank? It's a good show. Because Trump revolutionized reality TV when he made The Apprentice. What is The Apprentice? It was one of the first, if not the first, entrepreneur reality show. So Daddy Trump makes The Apprentice and inspires little Marxist Cuban, and then little Marxist Cuban makes Shark Tank because he's copying Big Daddy Trump, and then he cries Marxism every time. Oh, it's like Marxist Cuban, whose last name isn't really Cuban. His parents changed his name. You could look it up on Wikipedia, but it's like, just stop, bro. You're not fooling anybody anymore. I mean, you are, but not that many people. Someone said Russians love America. Everyone besides Americans like America. All right, I gotta go, guys. I think I'm gonna mail those thing out today. So I'll give a message to the supporters only when I mail your stuff out. But to everyone else, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. If you want a God bless hat or an anomaly shirt, it's at dreamrare.com. It's pinned to the top or something, or maybe it's not. I don't know. You'll find it somewhere. But if not, no worries. Sign up to my free email list at stayintouchwithme.com. And have a wonderful day. Hopefully you enjoyed this as much as I did. And I'll be back with more videos soon. I'm going to move this to YouTube or BitChute because I just have a feeling. Literally before I posted it, they were already targeting me for hate speech on Twitter. I was like, this is not going to be good. But it was. I had a good time. But all right, have a good one, guys. I'll be back soon.